Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a late start this morning. Had a couple of mishaps this morning, but everything is good. It is all good in the hood. You know how they say it is all good in the hood. I need to turn this on here. I got a few things I need to do. There we go. Got that going. Got that up and running. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Good morning, and again, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Morning Glow. We got a topic we're going to talk about today that I'm kind of excited about. I'm kind of excited about the topic. But before we get to the topic, we always have another topic that we talk about, a pre-topic, if you will, a pre-topic that we usually have, and so I'm going to jump right into that particular topic right now, and it's a grown folk topic. This is our here is a grown folk topic, and so yeah, we're gonna jump right into this thing, man, and see what your response is. And the phone number is 508-924-34, no, not 508-924-3521. I almost gave out the wrong number. Lord Jesus, I've been giving out this number for a couple of weeks now. I should know it, right? I should know it. Okay. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521 is the number. Give us a call. We love to hear from you. We definitely love to hear from you. What we're gonna talk about this pre-conversation is this. If if you take, and this is grown folk talk now. This is grown folk talk. So take the kids out of the room. They can't listen to this here. Grown folk talk. Okay. Now, if you take sex out of the relationship, will the relationship survive? If you take the sexual activities that you all have out of the relationship, will the relationship survive? Would it make it past the sex thing? If sex was not an issue, if sex was totally taken out of the relationship, if there's no opportunity for you to have sex at all, if you could never have sex with this person again in life, would you stay with this person? Would the relationship survive? Would would y'all be as compatible as you think you are now? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. And this is I put a post up on Facebook a little while back pertaining to this issue right here. And it was amazing to me the amount of people thought that their relationship would survive if sex was not a part of it. They thought the relationship would survive. Thought they will be okay, or we'll be fine. I put it up and I asked them. I challenged them. How many of you? They're saying that your relationship will survive. You're saying that it will survive if you take sex out of the equation. You're saying that the relationship will survive because sometimes if you take the bedroom activities out of the relationship, there's really nothing left. There's no solid communication. There's really not a whole lot left. If you take those bedroom activities, the horizontal mumble, if you take it out of the equation, if you take it out of the relationship, a lot of times the relationship gonna wither away. It's gonna wither away because for far too often that when a couple have issues, when a couple have issues, they go to the makeup sex. They go to makeup sex, and that's what that's sometimes they argue. Sometimes they argue just so they can have that makeup sex. What do you say? Um, have you seen relationships? Have you seen relationship that without without a shadow of a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt that if these two cats right here were not doing that horizontal mumbo, they wouldn't be together. They wouldn't be together at all. It'll be over. It's all over. Wow. Oh, y'all know every now and then I like to put a little tune in there. Every now and then I like to drop a little note. That's all. I can't remember who that is. I think it's Ohio Players. I think it was back in the day. Y'all don't know nothing about that old school. But our topic of discussion right now is if you take sex out of the relationship, would the relationship survive? How many relationships do you think will survive if they could never have sex? A lot of the virgins out there, that if we got any virgins left, they're saying it'll be fine. They're saying it'll be fine. It won't be an issue because they've never jumped over that bridge. They've never crossed that hurdle of having sexual activities, and they don't know the power that sex have on certain individuals. And so, especially if this person that you're dealing with is good, I'm trying to keep this thing as PG as I can. But if the person is good and they're real good in their bedroom activities, if they're real good in it with their bedroom activities, it might be kind of hard for you to just walk away, huh? Might be kind of hard for a person to walk away. So outside of the bedroom activities, how many relationships will last, will survive? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give me a call. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your input on this thing. Do you think that and even if you don't want to talk about your own personal relationship, it's okay. You don't have to. Have you ever seen other relationships? What do you think other people's status is in this subject matter right here? If for whatever reason, there was no horizontal mumbo, would the relationship survive? No conversation, don't have great conversation, don't have a lot in common, because a lot of times people get together, they don't have a whole lot in common. This person is good, I want it. Wow. How does that work? How does that work? And better question, does it work? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521 is the number. Give us a call. We love to hear you. We love to have your input. And like I said again, this is grown folk talk today. So you might want to take the little ones, the babies or whatever, and let them go look at some of the YouTube videos or something, YouTube cartoons or something like that. Put on some dinosaurs or some Mickey Mouse or something like that, because this conversation that we're having right now is not for the young folks. It ain't for the young folks. They ain't got no business. They ain't got no business listening to this conversation right now. And I'm just saying, they ain't got no business listening to this conversation right here. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to hear from you. We love to hear from you. I know. Wow. I'm not gonna put too much of people's business out there, but I know some young ladies back where I'm from, and I'm actually Greensboro, North Carolina. Anybody know anything about North Carolina, man? Them girls they ain't got no shame. They'll tell you straight up and down. Look at here. This what I want. This what I want. I ain't got time for all the other stuff. I ain't got time for no relationship. I'm too busy. I'm trying to do me. They'll tell you straight up and down. I'm trying to do me. You with it? You with it? And most of the time, how many guys gonna say, nah, man, I'm going home and play Monopoly or something. I'm going home and play checkers. Nah. Because I'm gonna tell you something. These girls in Greensboro and here in Atlanta as well. Here, I'm in Atlanta. I went from one extreme to the next. Here in Atlanta, man, they'll step to you in a minute. Hey, what's up? What's up? Whoa. What you mean? You know what it is. You know what it is. And so my thing is, if a relationship is built on something like that, if a relationship is just built on the sexual activities and how you make that other person feel and how they make you feel, if you were to take that out of the equation, if you were to remove that totally out of the equation, how many relationships will survive? How many relationships will survive? How many relationships would make it over that hurdle of time if they can no longer have that horizontal mumbo? I'm going to go to a song. We'll play a song. I'm certainly not going to play any gospel song right now. I'm looking for something jazz. I'm looking for a jazz tune, because what I'm talking about right now, it just I wouldn't feel comfortable playing a gospel song right now. So what I'm gonna play some of the late great. Y'all remember Wayman Tisdale? Wayman Tisdale was an NBA superstar. He was an NBA superstar, great NBA player. When he left the NBA, he partook on a musical career, and he played jazz was his music of choice. and he played musical choice. Well, this is one of the songs from the late great Wayman Tisdale. The name of the song is "Conversation Piece." Conversation Piece. Wayman Tisdale. Y'all listen to this. You're listening to DKM Media Group and Associates, and this is the Morning Glow. late great Wayman Tisdale. Wayman Tisdale, like I said, he was an ex NBA superstar. He was an ex NBA superstar, and turned over to after his NBA career was over, he started playing music, and jazz was his musical choice. That's one of the renditions that he made. Is conversation piece. I think he was doing a great job, and I think he would have had a great career in music as well. I think he would have had a great career in music as well. But unfortunately, man, he was taken away from us. God knows what's best. Now, what we're talking about right now, we're gonna get into our topic for in a few minutes. We're gonna actually get into our topic, waiting on our cast and our crew to call in. And once they call in, we're gonna jump into this conversational piece that we have here. But who's going to teach our children? Who's going to teach our children? With everything that's going on, man, in this world today, our children are the ones sometimes that gets left behind. You got so many people out there that's supposed to be parents that are not stepping up to the plate and doing what they need to do in regards to raising the kids. They're not doing what they're supposed to do, and because of the fact that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, a lot of the kids fall to the wayside. You got and one I talked to somebody else about this, and they were saying, well, sometimes adults, quote unquote adults, don't know how to be parents because they was never taught how to be a parent. They have no idea how to be a parent. Okay, that could be very true. That could be very true. They don't know how to be parents, but still in all, that still leave us with a situation. Who's going to teach our children? Who's going to teach our children? Who's going to be the one that's in the gap for our children to make sure that the children get the things that they need moving forward? And how are they going to be productive, a part of society when they're not taught? Somebody said, well, people out here with mental illness and they're having kids. Yes, they are. And again, I asked the question, who's going to teach the children? Because if you have a parent that has mental issues and is not up on what it takes to be a parent, you still have this young one, you still have this little one that needs to be taught, nurtured, and brought up to speed as to what life really is and what challenges you're going to have in life. They're going to have challenges. These young people are going to have challenges. And if no one is stepping up to the plate to teach them what they need to know and what they need to learn, there's going to be a void there. There's going to be an absolute void there. And they're going to have to go out there and fend for themselves 9 times out of 10, not knowing which direction to go in. They're not going to know right from left or left from right. They're not going to know up from down. And so they're going to have to fend for themselves. And in the process of them fending for themselves, they're going to run into some roadblocks, some major roadblocks. They're going to run into some major roadblocks. And in that course, man, they'll have there'll be a possibility. There will be a huge possibility that they will be victimized in some kind of way. Not because they want to, not because they deserve to. It's just that they will become victims of these. We talked yesterday about the mad street, the cruel streets out here. These streets could be cruel, man. You're either predator or you're prey sometimes. And if no one is raising the kids like they should be raised, those kids have the potential to become prey. They really have the potential to become prey. And if that be the case, if they become prey, then what do you do? What is one to do when these children become prey of these of some of these sick individuals that's out there in the streets? They become prey to some of these sick individuals that's out there in the street. What happens next? Do they at that time, do they become the predators? Do they actually become the predator at that particular time once they become victimized and they're dealing with that pain, if you will? Do they become victims as well? I mean, do they become predators as well? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give me a call. Let me know. Let me see here. I got some messages coming across my screen here. Let me see. Okay. All right, cool beans. Yeah, we're waiting on the cast and the crew to call in, and we're waiting on you to call in as well. Give us a call. Again, the number is 508-924-3521. Who's actually teaching our children? But who's going to teach the children? You have a child. Parent don't know how to be a parent, and maybe they didn't have great parents themselves. Maybe they didn't have great parents themselves. Is that an excuse? Because okay, if they didn't have great parents, if they didn't have great parents, and they don't know how to be parents themselves, is that an excuse not to be a great parent? Because there's so many other examples out there. There's other households that I'm sure that they went in and they visited. I'm sure they've seen different examples of what a good parent. I'm not even necessarily going to say a great parent, but a good parent should be. There are some things that you don't do. Certain things that you have to provide for your children. There are certain things that you have to absolutely provide for your children. But if they didn't have that example, if they didn't come from that two-parent household, if they did not come from that two-parent household, and they don't know what it is, they was in a household with a mother or a father, and they only thing they saw is the struggle. They saw the struggle, man. The struggle is real. They saw the struggle. They saw the mother or the father going out there working hard every day, not having enough time to teach. I don't have time to sit here and teach you. You should know this stuff. I don't have the time. I have to take care of you. I have to take care of you. I have to feed you. I have to make sure that you have a place to live. I have to make sure you got food on the table and clothes on your back. I ain't got time to sit here with you and hold your hand through all this stuff that you're going through. I ain't got time for that. Now, if you want to eat, you want food on that table, I got to go to work. If you want clothes and shoes and stuff on your feet, I got to go to work. If you want to eat, I got to go to work. Ain't nobody going to come out here and give us nothing. I got to go to work. Now, that's the mindset. That's the mentality that you hear a lot of times. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful because of the fact that you still the kid. You got responsibility. Yeah, you got to feed them. Yeah, you got to put them in a place to have them a place to stay. Yeah, you got to put clothes on their back and all. Yes, you got to do all those things, but you also have to teach them. You also have to teach them. You go work and you make more money than you could ever spend, but your children are falling in a hole, in a rut. And then you wonder to yourself, man, I was a great provider. I was a great provider. I provided for these kids. I gave the kids everything they wanted. No, what they wanted was you. What they wanted was for you to be their parent, not their friend, not just their providers, but the parent. They needed you to be there to teach them. They wanted to learn. They needed to learn. And the responsibility falls in your lap, man. In your lap, because you are the one that assisted in bringing them here. I've never seen it. I've never seen nothing from beyond where there's a note or telegram or anything, whereas a child was asking a parent to please have me. Kids don't. That's not the way this thing works. You took upon yourself to do the things that have the adult activities that produce a child. And now that you've done that, now that you've done the adult activities that produce a child, now that you've been through that activities and you have produced the child, now the child is here. Responsibility comes along with that. Great responsibility comes along with that. And it's more than just providing financial. It's much more than that. And if somebody out there think that that's all it is, just the financial piece of it, your kids are not going to go down the right roads. Your kids are not going to do what they need to do. Is that Kurt? Is that Kurt from Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm right here, man.
Kurt, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I all right. Hanging in there, brother.
There you go.
What's going on with you?
Man, you doing more than hanging in there, brother. You doing it, man. You doing it, bro. We got two topics. We got two topics going on right now. The first one that we talk about, before we got to the topic itself, was outside of sex. If you take sex out of the relationship, would most relationships make it? If sex was an issue, if these two people could never have sex again in life, would they make it as a couple? What do you say to that, Kurt?
No, not given today's time. Because I mean, in today's world, man, it appears that everything is built off of some kind of immediate physical gratification. Be it if it's to the eye, be it if it's to the eye, to the ear, or to the mouth. It's some kind of immediate gratification. You know what I mean? So if a relationship is built, if it's built off of immediate gratification, and you take physical aspect of sex out of it, your relationship is probably doomed. You know, some people can't live without sex, bro.
Yeah.
You know, just being truthful and honest, some people cannot live without sex. It must happen. So, you know, that might be a disaster for a whole lot of relationships.
And so,
I mean, and you know what? We can't even say that they per se wrong either. I mean, we could say that they wrong, but when you realistically look throughout our readings, just about every form of humanity or every form of excellence in humanity has been broken down with devilish antics, and it appears to me that most of it has happened as a result of some form of sex. You know, I don't think I have to give a list of names, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm with you. Go, yeah, I'm with you with that. Go ahead. You going somewhere?
You know, I mean, it's all throughout the Bible. Adam and Eve, sex, Sodom and Gomorrah, sex. You know, because when you think about it, God could have destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah at any minute.
Yes, sir.
But let me ask you a question, man. Has it ever dawned on you that the last straw was that them men was going to try and lay with them angels? Has that ever dawned on you? Like the straw that broke the camel's back. When you read the story, is them men was going to try and lay with them angels, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you know what I mean. You got Adam and Eve, Sodom and Gomorrah. You got, you know, you come up. You got Samson and Delilah. You got you come up a little further. You got David. Further, you got Solomon. You got like all of these great men except for Job. And Job's destruction was only temporal. But like all of these great men in the Bible, we'll find just about all the way up into the New Testament. I can't bring up any names from the New Testament. I'm not going to say I'm not studied yet, but all of these great people, when you look at their decline or their fall or their destruction, sex had something to do with it.
Exactly.
So, you know, now that's your first topic. What's your second topic?
The second topic is, but who's going to teach our children? Because you got so many people out here that say they don't have time to do all these other things to teach the children. Some people just don't know how to be parents. Some people would never talk. But my question was, one of my first initial questions was, is that an excuse? Because if you lay down and you create these children, you have a responsibility goes along with that. And even if you didn't have the greatest example of parents yourself, there's still examples all around you that you could look at. There's certain things that you as a parent, you have to do, certain responsibilities that goes into that. I've heard people say, I ain't got to tell the children, I don't have time to sit here and teach you this or hold your hand through this thing, man. I got to go out there and make this money. I got to make sure you got a food on your table, a shelter over your head, a roof over your head, and shoes on your feet and stuff. I got to provide these things. I don't have time to sit here and try and hold your hand and teach you all these things that you need to know. I don't have time for that. If you want these things, let me go to work. Kurt, what kind of response is that?
Lackluster. You know, what you gonna say if your kids say, "Oh yeah, but you made time to lay down and make me"? You made time for that, didn't you? And I know some kids that'll come out and say that.
Yeah.
But that's a lackluster. Poor parenting. There is no excuse for poor parenting. Okay, let's just keep it all the way above. There is no excuse for poor parenting. There is, I believe, barriers for poor parenting. That's why in a counseling world, there's this thing that we do called the psychosocial, and the psychosocial will provide a given it's the word I'm looking for. A psychosocial provides a given counselor some history, or it provides them with a kind of a bird's eye view of what has been going on over the course of years in this family. And as a result of that bird's eye view, you can pinpoint what they call precipitating factors. You can pinpoint things that may cause for a given person, male and or female, to be lackluster in parenting. It can also help you create tools to put in a person's toolbox that, let's just say you got that person that's not a parent yet. You see what I'm saying? So, but there are barriers that cause or that could get in the way of proper parenting. And we can't, as much as we want to say, well, you made the choice and sometimes we have people to just say, well, you made the choice, blah blah blah. It's a cop out. It's an easy way of not having to deal with the real mental health issues of what could be going on. It's an easy way to just, it's like cancel culture. It's an easy way to just cancel out the barriers that a given person could be going through, to create just that kind of poor parenting. You know, a prime example, if I was to keep it just straight to the point, a prime example is, if you got, I'll use you for example. Growing up, let's say you lived from pillar to post. When you had any kind of stable housing, it was in one of the worst housing projects in the United States of America. Right? All you saw is murder, mayhem, and so forth and so on, trauma. So all your life, all you saw was, you know, daddies beating up on mamas or mamas beating up on daddies, whatever the case may be. That could be, your living situation or your environment could become a barrier to you proper parenting. It could become that because that's all you've seen. And as a child, children learn by seeing, man. So, but there is no excuse. There are barriers, but there's no excuse for poor parenting.
Would you agree that if a child grew up in an abusive household where the father was beating on the mother, let's just use that as an example. The father's beating up on the mother, and that could make the little boy say, "Man, look here, I hate that, or I hate him for hitting my mom. I never hit my wife. I would never hit her." And something is planted in him at that moment well, you regardless of what it is. And sometimes it's reversed. Sometimes he becomes the victim because the young lady know that he would never hit them because of his upbringing. But can that plant that seed, or could that make a young lady say, I can't stand him, he keep hitting my mother, blah blah blah, ain't no man never gonna hit me, and to make her so aggressive, it could make her so aggressive in relationships that would never happen to her, but she run everybody off. What do you say to that from the counsel standpoint?
No, that could happen, and it can happen either way. I don't want it to sound like we're accusing one, like we placing blame on one without blame on the other.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen situations. I've had situations where young women thought that they could say any and everything to their men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done got a little touchy because we find out that this young woman, she don't know how to realistically talk to her man, because this how her mama talked to her daddy. So and when we look in terms of abuse as a counselor, it's easy to pull at the lowest hanging fruit, which is physical abuse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've seen it where I in my years in the business, I've actually seen it where the father was being physically abusive, but he was being triggered.
Mm-hmm.
The wife and her girlfriend was extremely verbally abusive. And when we did the research and we started to dive a little deeper in the sessions, the father was triggered because his mama, he had a passive father. And his mother was extremely verbally abusive to his father.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And, it was a trigger for him. And I've seen it where the dude is beating up on his lady. He beating up on his lady because that's what he's seen his daddy do on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a double-edged sword.
He thought that was the answer. He thought that was the answer.
Folks just have to be willing to put in the work.
Yeah, Kurt, what it is, he thought that was the answer to, and when I'm gonna tell you something. I had some uncles, they used to do the same thing, man. They used to beat up on their girlfriends and stuff like that, man, because every time they get upset or something don't go their way, they think that that's the answer. I just bust you upside your head and we'll get past this. No, man. No, that's a little twisted there, brother. To think like that, that's a little twisted. That you're gonna just bust somebody upside the head and it's gonna make it better. No, that's not the way. That's not the way this world works, man. You need to be by yourself, man. Go on an island somewhere and live by yourself. If you want everything to go your way, go on an island by yourself and exist by yourself, because that's not the way this thing goes, man. What do you say to that?
No, I mean, in all reality, I've always been one to be a supporter of, listen, man, you don't have no right to be putting your hands on nobody else chilling now.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
You ain't got no right to be doing that. I don't care if you married or no.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you married. She don't listen. Okay, most people ain't going agree with me on this. I've been married 2 times in my life. My first marriage was 20 years. My second marriage, I'm coming up on a year celebration.
Praise God. Mm-hmm.
Next week.
Yes, sir.
Right?
It's been a year already, brother. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, it's been a year. I don't care if I got a ring on her hand and that ring could be $25 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I got a paper that say she is my wife and it's draped in gold, platinum, and titanium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't own that woman, man.
Come on, say it.
She belongs to God.
Mm-hmm.
He gave her to me on lease.
Mm-hmm.
I don't own her, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, people really gonna get mad at me, Raheem.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I never introduced my wife as this is my wife, a Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
I introduced my significant other as this is a Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
My wife.
Yeah. There you go.
And I do that for a reason, because I don't possess her, man. She's not a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
She has a name. She's a human being.
Yes, sir.
I could die today or tomorrow, and she could move on with her life and have another husband.
Mm-hmm.
I don't own her. And I think it's just me. I think some people have a misconception. Once they get this license, or once they get this piece of paper, they get this ring on their hand. And I've heard people say it, yeah, I own you now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about that for a minute, listeners. Think about it real hard. You hooked up with somebody who genuinely in their heart believes that they own you. Man, if that ain't, to me, it's psychotic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I mean, that's just me, man. Some people say,
Here you go.
5 a.m. is the hour.
She's got papers on me. That's the whole basis of that song right there, man. She's got papers on me. I ain't want to play too much. I'll play a couple of seconds of, but that's it. But man, you got so many people that say, just like you said, Curtis, I own you now. They walk out, man, from the marriage, from the wedding, and they in the car going away on the honeymoon. Oh, I own you now. You own what? You own what? It's crazy, man. That piece of paper think that it makes them entitled where they could do whatever they want to do to this person, treat them in the way they want to treat them, and where does the respect go? What happened to the respect, Curtis?
Well, here's what happens. I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. Excuse me. Keep it all the way a buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. You could be dating and or be in a relationship with the most beautiful woman on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is in agreement that your woman or your man is the most beautiful on the planet. For men, most handsome, sexy man on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That sense of ownership that they have can make them extremely ugly.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That beautiful thing. You ever heard? Of course, you've heard of this because you got kids. Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, sir.
Instead of the beast becoming a beauty, the beauty becomes the beast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember one time I had this conversation with my old lady. Well, with a Wilder, and I said to her, she thinks Idris Elba is like the sexiest man on the planet.
Mm.
And no, I ain't gay or nothing like that. I gotta give it to the brother. The brother, he set his career to be able to stand up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, okay.
I appreciate the brother because he made dark-skinned brothers like you and I. You know, we kind of got the eye candy thing going on right
Yes,
now,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So we was talking one day about abuse, about the verbal and psychological and emotional abuse. And I said to her, I said, listen, if as sexy as you think he is, because I was trying to explain it to her, you know what I mean? Because she's not a counselor, ain't never worked in human services before in her life.
Mm-hmm.
She's strictly retail, sales, stuff like that.
Okay.
And I said, as sexy as you think he is, if you were dating him or you was married to him and he came home every day and he called you all kinds of names that weren't your name, smacked you up whenever he felt like it, or said things that felt like daggers in your heart on a constant and regular basis, how sexy would he be?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta lay out the abuse in order for people to understand just how corrosive abuse can be. And a lot of times people think abuse and they think in terms of, I'm dealing with it right now, they think strictly in terms of physical abuse. They don't even think about the emotional abuse that eventually takes physical toll on the body itself.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, bro, it's real. And one of the things that I just encountered, I just had a class yesterday, crisis management and conflict resolution class.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And one of the things that I knew it, but I didn't know it, is there's a new terminology coming out. There's two sides of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
There's the learned side of the brain, and then there's the trauma side of the brain, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in our talks yesterday, a lot of it came down to, during the class, a lot of it came down to how you talk to a given participant, youth participant, or in the old school we called them clients, but we trying to get away from calling folks clients anymore, to kind of help better establish a rapport. So in talking, we found out that, the topic came up about verbal abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And how there's a multitude of folks that's walking around here, Raheem, that have been verbally and psychologically abused. And now there's this push to kind of figure out what's too far.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody has realistically really put this thing into I guess you can say a quantitative antidote. Like, nobody, when you think in terms of abuse, verbally it's just excessive. The standard is, it's excessive. You know what I mean? Like, it's go sit your
Yeah.
I beat your,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about psychological abuse, psychological verbal abuse, is that a situation where, okay, when people start to play games with another person's mind and emotions and feelings? One of the things that came up yesterday was when folks try and guilt trip you. Is that a form of abuse? If
Yes.
that person is constantly trying to guilt trip you to get something from you, is that a form of abuse?
Mm-hmm. I say yes.
You see what I'm saying? And then it runs over into, well, what kind of person is being abused?
Mm-hmm. And see that takes us right back to our topic. Well, who's teaching the children? If you're dealing with all these people with all these issues, where do the children fall into that? Where does the children fall into this whole scheme, man? If that's where we are, and if that's what's going on in this society today, who's teaching our children, Curtis? Are our children really suffering?
I listen. Our children. Okay, so I'm there. I'm on the front lines. Consistent. You good? You good? You good, sweetheart. God bless you. You know, if anybody, can I just be frank?
Absolutely.
So this ain't to the kids. This to the adult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with your kids every day. If you're an adult and you listening to this call right now, I listen, I don't care about your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with your kids every day. And I'm seeing the results of lackluster parenting. It ain't no other way around it. It ain't no other excuse for it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop lying to these kids. Stop painting this picture like everything is peaches and cream. Man, listen, I'm working with them kids every day.
Mm-hmm.
These kids need you. They need you in their life. I don't care if you're getting high, if you're doing drugs. I don't care what you're doing, but they need you in their life. Because the things that's happening to these kids, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We as a country should be morally and ethically ashamed and should shut our mouth when we talk about the treatment of people in other countries.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It is shameful, Raheem.
Mm-hmm.
It is shameful. If you see some of the things I've seen, my brother, I have seen things, bro, that I kid you not, made me want to just walk away from the industry, period. Like, I don't even want to deal with people. I've seen things that make me, when I go to a movie theater and the movie theater is packed, and my son say, Daddy, look, I got to use the bathroom. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. To avoid overcrowding him, I'll go somewhere. I'll let him go, and then I'll walk in after him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't trust in my mind, seeing the stories that I've seen and being involved in the situations I've been involved in, I can't trust that my kid can go in the bathroom and come out of there like like a normal situation.
Unscathed. Yeah. Exactly. Let me do this right here. Let me go to hold on. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I don't know if that's me or not.
Yes, sir. Good morning. That Tucson from all the way down there from Wapalooda, Mississippi. God almighty. Listen, we got two topics. We got this one.
I think you enjoy, man, my place of residence.
That's a beautiful place. I'm sure it's a beautiful place, brother. I'm sure it is, brother. We got two.
You must have never been there.
No, I've never been there before. It's not beautiful.
Well, if you go to the tree line area, maybe so. Stay in the woods.
There you go. Hey, we got two topics. One is a grown folk topic, and the other one is our actual topic for the day. I'm gonna go with the grown folk topics with you first, and I want to hear your heart on this, man. And the phone lines are open 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Phone lines are open now. Tucson, relationships. People get in relationships for all kind of different reasons. Let me ask you, if you were to take the sexual activity out of majority of the relationships, how many of them will survive?
8%.
Good Lord. That's a very low number, brother.
I'm stretching it.
So if there's
it's not designed, unfortunately, let me stretch what you were going to say.
No, I was just gonna say that's a low number. So basically, what you're saying is a lot of relationships out here, 84%, not actually 94% of relationships is based on sexual activities.
We're made that way.
Mm.
It's not. See, we make it like that's an ugly thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
check out first the first thing that we was told to get here when we got here. Be
Mm-hmm.
fruitful and multiply and
Yes.
replenish the
Mm-hmm.
earth. How in the heck you gonna do that without sexual activity?
Yes, sir.
How's
Yeah.
it gonna happen?
It ain't. It ain't, brother.
Well, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
We make it ugly because we don't do it the right way. That's what
Mm-hmm.
makes it ugly.
Mm.
Relationships, sexual activity starts prior to doing it right. That's
Mm-hmm.
why it's a problem. If we would do it right, it wouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay.
And
Wow.
relationships would stick together.
Mm-hmm.
But because we want to test the water to see how deep it is,
Mm.
then we get all out of whack. And we experiment. Let me see if that's the right person for me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Oh, really? That's the way you see it, if that's the right person for you? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
And that's all they see.
Now you got a kid out of wedlock,
Mm.
and then after you have 2, 3 kids out of wedlock, then you find out y'all not equally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? How's
Mm-hmm.
that working out for you?
Exactly. Exactly. Wow.
That's your grown folk conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We do things out of order, and we see the results of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is. These conversations, the grown conversation and the other conversation, actually goes together.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sorry to say,
Mm-hmm. That's
because
good.
this is what we're teaching our kids. That's why
Mm-hmm.
most of them ain't studying no marriage,
Mm-hmm.
because they see your actions. Yo, which way you want me to? What you want me to ask? What you want me to say now? Which conversation you want to have? I'm ready for you.
Exactly. Hold on. Let me do this. We got about four people just came into the room. I'm gonna ask them the
I ain't
first.
gonna say nothing.
I'm gonna ask them the first question, and then we're gonna transition over to the second question. Our next call is 252 area code. 252 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Dr. Cook.
Dr. Cook. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning to everyone. I'm well. How
Good.
are you all?
Hey, doing well, doing well. We got two questions. I'm gonna ask everybody. I'm gonna ask you the first question. I got two other people that's on standby. I'm gonna go to them as well, and then I'm gonna go to the second question. But the first question is this right here. It's a grown folk conversation. Outside, there's a lot of couples out there, people that get together for different types of reasons, whatever the reason is. But let me ask you, if you were to take the sexual activity that people have, if you were to take that out of the relationship as it is right now, they could never have sex again, how many relationships would survive?
Not very many, because from what I see, that appears to be the driving force in a lot of the relationships today.
Mm-hmm.
People don't teach children anymore that shouldn't be a part of it. Sex was created for marriage, but people are not teaching their children that. And so when I speak to people in my family, well, they basically say, well, that's not going to happen. Why isn't it going to happen? Why are you not teaching your children that sex is for marriage? They need to wait.
Mm-hmm.
And because I teach my children that. I teach them about everything. I teach them about being responsible. I let them know that God doesn't want us to have sex before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That's fornicating.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell them that's a sin. And if you're not forgiven, you may go to hell. So, and I also teach them the other aspects of sex. Now, people know that we're given a choice. God told us in His Word that He give us a choice. We have a choice to live right. We have a choice to do whatever we want to do. But there are consequences if you do wrong.
Exactly.
And there's a reward if you do right. So I have these serious conversations with my daughters. And it appears to be different for the men. I don't understand why, but that's something that's important. And I think that the question you basically asked, I really think that there'll be some that will not engage in the activity, but for the most part, the way society is, that it appears that everybody is basically being groomed by what's going on in the media, what's going on in their environment, and they're yielding. Some of them are yielding to it, but we have to stand up. We have to basically have our own mind and stand up for this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me go to Cassandra. You're next on the totem pole. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Now, the first question I'm asking is about relationships, and if you would take the sexual activities out of the relationship, Cassandra, how many relationships would last? How many relationships will continue, and be so happy and be so nice and so joyous?
Yeah, it would be a very small amount that would last because, just like she said, our society has groomed people to feel like if you're not having sex in a relationship, you're not in a relationship. And if we go scriptural, we know, just like she said, if we go scriptural, we know that abstinence, abstaining, should be a part of every single Christian. Now, if you married, you can do it all night long, all day long, on the chandelier, on the rooftop. That's your business. But if you're single, then you should be abstaining, you know, but that's not taught. And I hear parents do the same thing now. Well, you know, well, I can't, these children doing what they want to do. Well, yeah, they can do what they want to do, but you are still supposed to train them up in the way that they should go.
Exactly. That's good. And that you actually said something about the second question that I have, but I'm gonna go to Rico first. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, grand rising, everybody. Man, how's everybody doing?
Hey, doing good, brother. I need to hear your input on this one right here, man. Of how many relationships will last if you take the sexual activity out? Just totally take the sexual activity out. They can never have sex again. How long would they last? Would they last?
Well, it depends on what the intention of both parties were. If somebody is in it just to have somebody to take care of them because they got a nice paycheck, they might sacrifice the sex because they want somebody to pay all the bills for them. They're lazy or whatever. So it really depends. But if you just base it around a average relationship, if you're young, they probably won't last long. But once you get older, there's a chance that it still could survive because we get used to the same thing in a heartbeat to the point where it's like having a new car. After you get used to something for so long, you ain't got to have it as much, especially when you know it's going to be there. Oh, that's going to be there. I'll get that tomorrow. I'll drive my motorcycle next week. I don't feel like driving it. But when you went and bought it, you went and broke your arm and a leg to try to get it. You couldn't wait to get it. You thought you were going to be up and down the road on that crotch rocket and like you slept on it. But 3 months later, that thing parked in the garage collecting dust.
Exactly.
You don't got used to it. So, you know, that's what happens with human beings. You know what I'm saying? We lose excitement when things are new to us. And when we know that we can get it whenever we want to, then it's not as big of an issue. We don't have such urgency. But at the same time, with older couples now, there could be a problem because now they have technology. They have medicines that can make people be aroused and erect like they couldn't in the past. So you have these situations where old men are taking Cialis and Viagra, and they got pills for women, the pink PUSSY pill, that's making them actually, it artificially activates their hormones. So now you got old people out here acting in young ways again. I can remember when Viagra first came out, they were talking about the number of elderly men getting STDs again.
Mm-hmm.
It picked back up. And so, you know, I think in this day and age, it might not survive if you put those artificial stimulators in place. But this atmosphere was created. Man, I'm to be long. I can remember when I was young, I was so afraid of the 10 Commandments. And the one I was most afraid of was being, I guess, about adultery. Because I had such a mannish, pornographic, perverted mind when I was young that at the age of 6, I was doing things to other little 6-year-old girls that I shouldn't have known to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then as I got a little bit older, not much older, I actually started having intercourse. Very young age. Didn't know what I was doing, what the climax was. Didn't know anything about a climax. I just did it till I got tired. No sensation or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could remember after I started feeling guilty, man, I'm going to hell. I'm breaking the 10 Commandments. I ain't gonna even make it to be grown. God's gonna strike me down.
Mm-hmm.
I got too many strikes. So I stopped. There was a situation that made me stop. But then I came into an environment where society, my environment, told me that it was a badge of honor or a rite of passage to not be a virgin. Can you imagine listening to those 10 Commandments and seeing them, but then having most of people in society asking you ain't did that yet, making you think that sex is a recreation,
mm-hmm.
and you being a virgin is lame.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, I remember I wanted to get married just to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
I still would have been getting married for the wrong reason.
Yep.
And to this day, I'm still trying to fix myself from sexually objectifying women and knowing that I want to be in a relationship for the right reason now.
Mm-hmm.
Because society has been out of order, like Donald said. We so out of order when we tell young people that a rite of a passage or acceptance into a certain society or standard is losing your virginity before you even get married. That's going completely against what God wants us to do.
Absolutely.
So I was very confused. I was even more out of order.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had already crossed the line, my conscience bothered.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good deal. I think we have Brother Pete. Brother Pete, good morning. How you doing this morning? Pete, you there?
Doing good. How you doing this morning?
Hey,
How's the family, the panel, the listening audience, UKM Radio?
Yes, sir. Doing good, man. I need to ask you a question, man. We got 2 questions. I'm gonna throw the first one at you first, and we're gonna transition ourselves over to the second one. Relationships as they are today, Pete. If sex could not be a part of the relationship, if they could never have sex again in the relationship, how many relationships would survive in this day and time?
In the culture of America, I think that would be with the inducement of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
That would create a serious obstacle and impediment to success in marriage. But like you say, the foundations of the earth are all out of place. What marriage historically was kind of a more so like a business concept. Okay, number one. Then we got the love aspect, the in love aspect, and then it requires us to merge into one another to become one and really form ourselves for the longevity of it all, the good, the bad, the indifferent, maintaining it and keeping it going. Well, let's twist this up a little bit. We live in a culture with this sexual issue. We're like heathens, like straight up animals. Would you rather have a new car, if you could, or a used car? Now we can get into the financing and the fees and the blah, 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 blah. It loses its value. I got all that. Would you rather have a new house or a used house? Would you rather have a new suit or a used suit? Would you rather use a fork and a plate that somebody has used right before you, or would you want a clean one? We're running up behind each other, back to back, sharing, slopping, swapping, just like it's a never-ending stream of sharing. You're like animals. When you really sit down and think about it, you're like animals. It's not just looking at the woman that's being used. Look here, bruh, you used too.
Yes, sir.
Do that woman want a used up man already? He done ran up in 25 different women. She done been with 25 different men. Don't even get into the spiritual aspect of the inner essence of us and the DNA concept if you swap in bodily fluids.
Soul ties. Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about we like animals.
Mm-hmm.
This culture is savage when it comes to its sexual concept.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Cook, what's on your heart? We're going to stay right here for a second. What's on your heart?
I was just sitting back enjoying what everybody was saying in reference to it. What he just said a minute ago about we're just savages. Yes, because when you're engaging in sexual activity, you're dealing with all the different spirits from all those other different persons, and who that person may have been with, and who that other person that you've been with have been with. So that's serious business, and all of those different spirits going within you. And I now I understand why some people have mental issues, all of these different things going on, because you have all of these different spirits. And I'm glad that I learned about this, and that's something I teach my children so they can understand. We didn't understand this back in the day, but I understand that, and that's gross. That's not good. That's gross. And so, how are you going to deal with getting all those other spirits out of you? And I'm saying I'm glad that I came to the understanding of spirituality. We're living in a spiritual world, so we need to understand everything about spirituality. Whatever we do is spiritual, and we just need to look at that concept in that manner, and then we will start making better choices when we look at things spiritually. That's all I have to say, and I'm glad that he brought that up. The last person that just spoke, I'm glad he brought that point up.
Brother P, absolutely.
That's all I have to say right now.
Good deal. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that everyone has said. And soul ties, there are a lot of things that go along with people interacting sexually outside of marriage and inside of marriage. Because even when you talk about the two becoming one, that actually goes into people that are not married. That's where we get soul ties and people being, obsessed with being with a person. And it's so much. If you took it from the spiritual aspect, as you said, we could be talking about some really deep stuff, because people are connected just like you're connected if you're married. There are negative connections that take place if you're not married and you sexing up on Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Good Lord.
So it's true. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a lot of layers in here. Tucson, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
A lot of layers.
Tucson, you there?
Oh, I thought y'all left me out.
No, sir. No, sir.
I know how to keep quiet. I ain't going to interrupt nobody. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just venting because got a lot of things going on. So what is where we at? What's your question?
No, same thing. We're still talking about taking the sexual aspect out of the relationship. Would it last? Where are we as a society, Tucson? Where are we? Are we just that sexually driven? And Leonard,
like dog.
And Leonard said, yeah, some of y'all just nasty as swine.
Oh, he said swine. I said dogs. Because I had a female dog. Couldn't keep her in for nothing in the world. She would jump the fence. You tie her. She'll bite the rope or the leash. Had to get her a metal chain. Because she would be across the town.
Good Lord.
And when you find her, had a pack of dogs, male dogs and female dogs.
Good Lord.
And you know what they would do? They would follow each other and to breed, they would even fight. Don't that sound like us?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fight
I
in a
mean,
minute. Yeah, that's my girl, man. Well, you don't mess
you
with
know,
my girl.
You know what they call some of our ladies the same thing they call a female dog,
Mm-hmm.
and they're proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
They're proud of it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hear us howling at the night like wolves.
Mm-hmm.
We lick our own tail, greeting each other.
Mm. Mm.
How grown you want this conversation?
Hey, we talking, brother. We talking. This is the Morning Glow. We talking.
We treat our women like bitches.
Mm. Wow.
So I ain't gonna say nothing now.
Rico, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
I'm walking in celibacy now because I've been so disgusting. And it's getting worse. Not just with me, but society. They're eating groceries now. And they proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to know that they're eating groceries. Men walking up to women, asking them to eat their groceries, and they don't even know them. They think it's a turn on.
Mm-hmm.
A guy down here yesterday went viral because he's been suspected as being undercover, and somebody leaked the tape of him showing his groceries, inviting some other gay men to come to it. But he got babies and women everywhere. Groceries.
Mm.
We need groceries. We need food to eat. But they don't put the value of it on somebody's butthole.
Mm-hmm.
And told you that this is something that we need to do. This is something you need to experience. See, I think that's what the big problem is. Society has felt more in love with the experience. They have placed more priority on the experience than the morality of things.
Mm-hmm.
See, we intellectual beings, we supposed to be a little bit better than this, but we will drop our intellectual side to experience our natural human instinct anytime and justify it. So now we have an energy, an atmosphere that exists that it's hard for us to turn around from because we only live once. YOLO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You only live once. So with that being said, people want to experience everything they can and then go to church and say Jesus is their Lord and Savior and get forgiveness. That's the new way to do it now. Just go out here and experience what you want to. You see, if we actually put everything in this proper place, we would understand that sex is like a drug. Intercourse is like a drug. You have the main intentional function of that drug is to cure or to create something, which is a baby. But the side effect is the pleasure and the climax. So now society done told you that the climax, the pleasure, the side effect of intercourse is the most valuable part of it, and the baby is the side effect.
Wow. Wow.
The intentional result is the baby. So we have confused ourselves and put certain things as a priority that should be secondary. We have made the side effect a priority. And that's what everybody's chasing. That side effect, that pleasure and that climax. But oh man, when they get baby and he went in there but about 10 seconds. I went in there long enough. I know it ain't mine.
Oh, it's yours.
Or more, and they make that mad dash. And they testing 8 and 9 different people for babies. You know, I mean, for paternity. All because they chose to make the side effect be more important.
Exactly. And let me answer on one of my platforms here, Inner Beauty. Yes, I do know Cassandra Green. Cassandra is a friend of yours, said that they're a friend of yours, and asked me, do I know you? And so, yes, I absolutely do know. That's my sister. I do know Cassandra. Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
Culture, tradition. We have to identify, we need to identify, we should be aware of social engineering, the steering of the herd where you want it to be. And the fact of the matter is, this is a culture of stealing, a culture of lying. This is an ungodly culture.
Come on.
Over here.
Come on.
It's the society of the fibers
yes, sir.
of the society go directly against the universal principles of truth and righteousness and justice and peace and love.
Mm-hmm.
The society is structured to have the masses doing any and everything contrary to what is right, what is good, what is wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's designed on purpose. It's beautiful that we can have these conversations and identify sexual relations in this proper context are wonderful, but it's a whole completeness. It's the physical expression of the emotion. Is what it should be. It's called making love.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a high regard, love for one another in order to come together to share in the experience of the love that you have for one another.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's just physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So now we make it, I want to do it like I hate you. I want to do it to you like I kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I beat it up.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? All that sounds like violence.
Exactly.
Sound like hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the love? So we live in a culture that is designed to have us in a position to constantly go against the will of all that is right, which we identify to be God, the creator of all living things.
Mm-hmm.
It has us in a position where everything we do on a constant basis, in whole or in part, is contrary to those laws, those rules, those principles, those ordinances, those judgments, those commandments, those wills, those ways, that word. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's beautiful. Let us identify. Let us not be found lacking. But it's designed on purpose. Now, why? The question would be, in a society that wants to be a society, a civilized, decent people, we're an example for one another in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we structure our society with all of that?
Exactly. AP and Leonard said, tell Pete don't break down with a poem.
He said don't do what?
He said tell Pete don't break down with a poem. He said don't go into no poetry now. He said we're gonna start snapping our fingers over here, brother. We're gonna start snapping our fingers. Toussaint, you had something, brother?
I was just thinking when Pete was talking. And Pete, look, you ever went to the zoo? And what was the favorite part of going to the zoo when we was coming up? Anybody know?
Seeing the monkeys?
Go. That's what I'm talking about. I knew somebody knew it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You ever seen the baboons and the monkeys conduct themselves? How they conduct themselves?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. They wasn't worrying about the public eye.
No. Mm-hmm.
They do whatever they had to do in front of everybody.
Exactly. Mm.
And brother Toussaint, understand that a Congress is a group of monkeys. A Congress is a group of monkeys being monkeys. That's what a Congress is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Don't that sound familiar?
Absolutely.
Don't that look familiar?
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to nature even. We're supposed to have a dominion over them, but we're following after nature.
Yeah, yeah.
We're acting like dogs and pigs and monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Having our shake it like a tail feather.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Drop it like it's hot. Let it down like it's warm. Shake it, shake it, shake, 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 shake.
Like it's lukewarm. Exactly. Exactly.
And that goes to the point. I don't want to rush this, but that goes to what are we teaching? Who's teaching our children?
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Mm-hmm. And that is the second part of the question that I was putting out there. Who's teaching our children? But who's going to teach our children? Pete, who's going to teach our children? Rico, coming to you next. So I know you got a lot on this one right here, brother. But Pete, who's going to teach our children? If we living in this society, if we conducting ourselves as we are, who's going to teach our children the right way?
Well, now you're getting down to where the rubber meets the road. where the subject matter, the context of what's real is now made manifest. Who created the children? The father and the mother and the creator, right? So it takes the creator of all living things, that essence, a father and a mother to raise the child. Now, the foundation of that concept has been disrupted, if not a full attempt to destroy it. Now we have a situation where children are being adopted by whomever. They're being raised in same-sex families. You know, same-sex, nothing gonna create a child. I'm not gonna get all into the politics of the game. I'm just saying 2 women can't have a child. Yes. 2 men can't have a child. It's not possible.
Yeah, exactly.
But we make it normal. Who's gonna raise the children? The people who created them have a duty and responsibility to raise them. That's your responsibility. Once you create a child, you are the father and the mother forever. Ain't no part-time job. I don't care if they 95 and you 120. Guess what? They still call you daddy and mommy. That's my parents, right? It's a full-time, permanent position, rooted in responsibility. That is who is supposed to teach the children. Then the neighborhood, the extended family, then the neighborhood, then the community, and then the institutions, the spiritual institution, the educational institution should help and teach and guide and instruct. And the fiber of the society should be structured that it encourages, induces, and energizes, gives strength and food to that educational structure of building up sound, full beings that are complete. But here, like we say, we're in a society of chaos. So who's going to teach the children? The television.
Wow.
The game. That's who's going to teach them. The gang, the GAME or the GANG is going to teach the child. Or what other whim of foolishness, nonsense, or wherever they can get the information come from. Can you imagine a child finding a porno book and seeing a man up under a woman and thinking that he's in her rectum and he might be in her vagina? That child concept is just the rectum. Now you wonder why he's chasing that? Because that's what he got in his head when he was a child, because he saw a book or saw a movie and was wrong. But in his adolescence, he didn't comprehend what it was. This child is 30 years old off track from what he saw when he was 5.
Wow.
So that's what he was taught.
But who's going to teach our children? Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Well, who's supposed to be teaching the children, to me, are the parents. But like Pete said a second ago, I'm glad you came to me after Pete. I think you need to start doing that from now on. And I could be short. I could just say what Pete said and go from there. But it's supposed to be the parents. It's supposed to be the ones that brought them into this world. Then secondly, it's supposed to be mankind, the community, the human community. But the human community is not going on the same path anymore. We have different priorities, you know. You should hope that it would be the people that has the most motivation to be a contribution to society, a positive contribution. That's the way it should be. People that show you how to work hard, how to be honest, how to, you know, how to be respectful. You would hope those people are the ones that are going to teach our children. But now we don't have time to, because we got to survive. We got to keep up. We got to try our best to be our own business, be our own bosses, or we got to go work for somebody else. And we got to do a lot of that work. And even when we get off work, sometimes we got to create a side hustle, because we have put providing for them, not only provide for them, but sometimes just, you know, want to have the finer things ourselves. We've made that such a priority that somebody else is teaching the children. Like Pete said, the game. Then you got the video games, you got technology, you got the internet, you got YouTube, you got people getting rich. They call influencers. Influencers are influencing the way society should go. Influencing what your children should think is the norm or is acceptable. Going viral with a new way. Look at this new thing that we can do, and it's normal. Hey, look at this. Let's stack up milk crates. After 40 years, let's just come up with some new thing and then influence other people to take their time out of the day, riding around town, finding a place to do this, injuring ourselves.
Now, Rico, I don't want to cut you, but let me cut in. Don't on every last one of them crates. Don't it say private property of?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Every last one of them is stamped property of. You stealing.
Mm-hmm.
You stealing. You potentially committing a misdemeanor to a felony by organizing all of them crates. Are you kidding me? And you filming yourself. And we done had a lady fall and kill herself doing that mess already. Forward. I'm sorry, brother.
Mm.
And then on top of that, other people want to make jokes about the people that's being killed and hurt just to go viral again. See, so now I'm gonna say society being influenced to go viral. Get up every day and think of something, have an ambition or a motivation to do something to put on Facebook and hope the whole world want to see it. Sometimes it's bad. You can't do nothing good, so now you got to go and you got to hate and bash everybody. Like that on I guess his name Charleston Lewis or whatever. Man, that dude's so contradictory. Anybody come out with something good, he come out with something negative to say for the shock value.
Mm-hmm.
So that's who's teaching. That's who's the influencers, technology, the internet, TV, soap operas. Soap operas did a job a long time ago, and we didn't even realize how Erica Kane actually turned our women into her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Go ahead, Tucson. Go ahead, Tucson. It's getting good. It's getting gooder and gooder.
Boy,
That's a word.
I don't know if this is a duet that Rico and Pete got going on, but you singing to the choir for real.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Because look, we've been doing this for a while. I didn't even think about the soap opera because that and Dallas showed us how to act. We watched it and imitated it, and now we're gonna go slap crazy. See ourselves on the internet and show your hearts and up and like and share and share and share and share. And we're a mess. And our children are watching. And they're like sponges.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you see the child that he don't know how to walk, but he can unlock your phone.
Come on.
And so we all out of order. And we wonder why. And nobody has enough influence on society to say, look, we better stop right where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because we self-destructing at a fast rate.
Yep.
And we do not.
Why don't we realize? Why don't we realize it, Tucson? Why don't we realize it was self-destruction? Self-destructing. Why don't we realize?
People admiring what we're doing.
Mm.
They're pleased with it. Check it out. If it's negative, see how many likes and shares it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch it. Where the internet's resources is, Twitter, Facebook, whatever book you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Go to it and see if it's positive and see how many followers they got.
Mm.
See how many things are negative. You mean to tell me I'm gonna voluntarily climb on a stolen crate? It should have been locked up by now. One lady showed her child. He looked like a alien, and nobody paid it no mind because he had just about bust his eyes out.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
We teaching our children.
But who's going to teach our children? Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Kurt, you there? Rico, talk to me, man. We get back to Kurt. Talk to me, Rico.
Yeah, man. I was thinking about that with the Dallas thing and the Erica Kane thing. I say that a lot. And people don't realize it, that was where it started for my generation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could probably go back in history and look at things that my parents looked at when they were younger and say, well, that was another form of it. But I was actually able to see it firsthand. I started seeing some of the same devious behavior being carried out by people after the soap operas went off. All of that cliffhanger. You remember at the end of the soap opera every day, they gave you a cliffhanger, something exciting to think about, something to just hang your teeth in. Ooh, wait till tomorrow. Is he gonna walk in and catch him, girl? He's gonna knock on the door. And they in his bed, man, and people will call and get on the phone and talk about the whole lineup, from Young and the Restless all the way down from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. They have the whole rundown, kids sitting there listening to it. But then after the soap opera go off, they came up with call waiting, and I started hearing telephone calls where people were going back and forth, creating that same energy, that sensationalism. Then I started realizing, you know what, man? To some people, trouble is fun. Keeping up mess is fun. It's exciting to them. So they like to instigate. All that came from a certain energy that's being taught by, I'm going to say, influencers, by TV, by programming. And so now we have a situation where the most negative things are the things that's pretty much, we found a way to justify it, make it normal. That's just how things go. And it's not how it goes. But as I started realizing, as time started, moving on a little bit, that we actually are the ones that's learning from our children now. Because they have so much influence from the internet and from what's going on in this environment, to the point where we don't know what's going on with them. So we have to tune in. We have to tune in. We have to tune in with them and see what's going on. You catch us doing the TikTok challenges now.
Exactly.
Things that are geared towards them. We own it. We don't want to let the video games go. They don't understand why we don't want to let the video games go. Why? Because we grew up on it. They babysitted us. So, why don't we let wrestling go? That TV babysitted us.
Yeah, exactly.
We grew up on Superfly Snooker. So, now the TV is babysitting your child. But the thing is we are not watching the same things that they're watching all the time. So you catch the parents trying to stay relevant, and they'll start letting the children teach them, and then they'll make that the norm.
Exactly. We got another caller from the 40. I think that's our Bishop. Bishop, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. How about y'all?
Hey, doing good. You been listening to the conversation?
No, I've been dealing with some other stuff, but I said let me call in.
Okay, we're talking about right now, but who's going to teach the children? Who's going to teach the children with the society being as it is, all the negatives that's going on in this world today? Children are being pushed to the wayside, and they're not being taught the way that they should be taught. We're not doing it and I say we, not specifically us, but I'm just saying as a whole, we're not doing it like we're supposed to. So, Bishop, who's going to teach our children? Who's going to take responsibility to teach our children to be productive citizens in society, respectful, upstanding, moral, ethics, and all those different characteristics that they should have? Who's going to teach our children?
Well, the responsibility still lies back on the parents, regardless to what's going on in the world today, pandemics and storms and earthquakes, but it's still the parents' responsibility. The scripture says wholeheartedly, train up a child the way he should go, that when he's old, he won't depart from it. Then it told the fathers, provoke not your children wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So you talk about the principles and the morality that needs to be expressed, it needs to come from the parents. I never sent my children to school for the school to raise them. I raised my children. I taught them and talked to them about, being a principled person, having respect for yourself and having the respect for others. So in spite of what's going on in the world today, you take the computer games away from them, Call of Duty and all that stuff, and you sit down and talk to them at the dinner table. Ask them how was their day. Ask them what took place throughout the day. You sit down and you create a family that you establish and make this thing work for them and make it work for you.
That's good. Curtis, are you with us? Curtis, are you there? Okay. Pete, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Bishop batting 1,000. We're going back to the reality of culture, the traditions, the activities that reinforce the mindset, the heart condition, the position within ourselves that we value and execute through our behavior. Where's the standard of it coming from? And too often it's the social engineering, it's the structure, the fiber of the society. This is what we see. This is what like I said, we in a society where evil, wrong is celebrated. It's actually celebrated.
Yeah.
On one hand, with the common folk, we say, oh, well, if you steal, they'll lock you up. But the folks that's supposed to lock you up stealing all the time. They stealing all, they lying all the time. Come on. This is ridiculous. We're dealing with the structure, and it's a system designed to separate us. Let's just be honest. It's to separate us from the truth. It is designed to keep you off track from your full potential as a flesh and blood sentient being. What were we created for? We were created to glorify all that was good, all that was true, to express love to one another. Here we have a concept of pigmentation that we've glorified to levels of, unheard of levels of importance, when simply it's just the pigment of your skin that has divided whole groups of people across the world on a false narrative. And look at all the chaos that has come from that. And here we find ourselves now having to come back to the truth and realize that people are just people.
Wow.
Flesh and blood is just flesh and blood. Good and bad or indifferent is in us all. And we have an individual personal responsibility to live up to our full potential and the true purpose of our creation in this form. But we have a system in function that is designed to separate us from that truth, keep us from ever coming to it, never wants us to get to a level where we're actually operating, interpreting, comprehending, and executing directly on that line of truth.
There was a time, Rico, there was a time where in the community, whereas if a parent or grandparent or whoever it was saw a child in a bad situation, in a home that's not conducive to what it needs to be, abusive or whatever, they would go to that house and say, look here, they'll figure out a clever way to say, give me that child, let me raise him. They'll take the responsibility to bring that child into their home and let that child be a part of their household. Rico, do we still have that compassion for one another today?
It's there, here and there. It's there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the thing about it is we're not children anymore, so we don't see the things on an abundant basis like we did when we were young. So I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, some of these children do have some type of resemblance of that atmosphere that we experience, of having other people's parents take you in and treat you just as good as they'll treat their own children. I think that does happen here and now, but we know it doesn't happen on as much as it used to, because we have too many instances of children living right next door and under the people's noses, getting abused and molested and mistreated and neglected. And people just minding their own business, not saying nothing, or just gossiping about it. Look at them kids, got them same shoes on from last year. I bet they feet stink. Look at that little girl, that hair ain't been done the whole year. And she said she letting them go natural. That ain't natural, that's naturally lazy. But they won't take the little girl in.
Exactly.
Little girl come over to their house and see their little girl, and they talk about after she leave. Girl, that girl had an oat on her. Well, baby. Start teaching some of the things that you see are missing. And you know what I found out in this society, that sometimes people call you, say that you are sticking your nose in other people's business when you show concern, when you show empathy and compassion for somebody that you say, you know what, they don't know no better. Let me at least tell them. Mind your business. I tell my child what to do. I don't know you weirdo. Well, wait a minute. I'm just telling them to look both ways before they cross the street because I saw them run out in the middle of the road yesterday. And ain't nobody been out here watching them because you always be up in the house entertaining men or high all the time, and your kids out here running around risking their lives, trying to have fun.
Come on.
And trying to learn and navigate this world by themselves. But you don't want me to say nothing to your child. Hey, don't run across that road. Who you yelling at? Don't be yelling at my child. Wait a minute. I just saved your child's life.
Exactly. Wow.
So I don't think it's all the way there. You know, people don't know the neighbors like they used to. We talk about the village. We reminisce and say a lot of things that we just have to accept that ain't going to be the same no more. People ain't buying homes and living in them homes for 40 or 50 years, raising 9 and 10 and 12 children in that same household for over time and dying now. People are buying homes and moving on to the next best thing because they want to keep up with the Joneses, and they have high class motivation. And when that becomes a priority, it's hard to maintain who your neighbors are because everybody's gonna keep on moving on to the next best thing, or they just trying to move on to something to maintain.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's stable anymore. Nobody wants to be stable as they used to be. Everybody wants to shoot for the moon.
And Toussaint, what killed the village? We talking about the village right now. What killed the village, Toussaint?
I don't want my child to be raised like I was. That statement right there. Or I'm not going to raise my child like I was raised. And we see the effects of that mindset growing to the point where you're not going to parent your kid at all. Just let them do what they want to do. No correction, no instructions, no train up a child in the way they should go. Should go where? If the parent don't know how to be a parent, how the child don't know they should act as a child.
Exactly. That's good.
How that's gonna happen?
It's not.
I mean, we think of God, the Bible, Jesus, Christianity, righteousness as a thing of the past. That was way back then. That worked for them back there. And we throw it away unless we can get a cash app attached to our message. Now, if we got a cash app attached to a word from the Lord, we ready for that. Share and like.
Yeah.
But there is no reaching of the soul, of the inward part of man, to the point where they grow in the wisdom and the knowledge of Him. They just know a bunch of scriptures, and everybody knows that they the big preacher on the bar, or the one with that powerful word. And we look for reaction. We don't look for correction. How many people you can get to view your live? That's all we want. Share this broadcast, and if you enjoyed this broadcast, you can be a part of what we're doing here. So we have Cash App and other avenues that you can share, and we'll give you this gift. But lives are not being changed. So if your life don't change, oh man, I almost Cassandra home.
No.
I needed a word right there.
No.
I needed a word right there.
No, she had to take off.
I was finna say, if your life don't change, how in the hell you think your child's life gonna change?
Hey! Absolutely. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
That might be me.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. Hello, how are you?
Doing good. We're talking about, but who is going to raise our children? who is going to teach our children? Who's going to teach our children with the world being as it is today, and children are being parents are not being parents, not teaching the children, being in the gap like they're supposed to back in the day with grandmama and them. So Toya, who's going to teach our children?
Oh, honey, let them teach themselves, honey, please. I don't know. I mean, if we're not going to do it, honey, just let them teach themselves, man. I mean, some of this stuff common sense. Some of the stuff when I look around, the kids is the way they is because the parents. The kids is the kid. You can see that the Lord blessed the child with the sense, because the mama and the grandmama and the whoever else is around ain't got none. So this world and the people in it. Oh man, there are multiple moving parts, man, and we can assume that people know that how to be a parent, but they don't. And I was thinking about something the other day. I was driving down the street. They got these signs that says, "Careful, drive like your children are here." And I thought to myself, honey, this day and age, do you know that parents are putting their kids in the oven?
Good Lord.
Drive like your kids are here. Like your kids are here. Did you see Children of the Corn? Did you see some of these kids that's out right now? You talking about drive like your kids is here? There is so much going on from a child perspective and a parent perspective. They said in the Bible that fathers against sons, mothers against daughters. Well, here it is. You got mamas putting their own babies in the oven, among other things. But then you got parents who are doing things, kids who are doing things to their parents, raised by them. Another story. One parent raised her child as if the child had cancer. Chemo treatment, the whole nine. Every time the girl tried to stand up because she just knew something wasn't right, the mama would talk her as she talked her into being a sick patient for all them years, that it wasn't so, that the girl was crazy. The parent. The parent did that to the child.
Wow.
So this day and age, Satan has, he's looking, what they say, seeking whom he may devour. He's around here, and he's coming from parent to kid, to mother, to father, to boyfriend, to girlfriend. Just the stories.
Good deal.
It's just always something from both sides, man. So I don't know. I feel like, long as the Lord is roaming and he has this world available, if the parents get wiped out, trust me, the Lord got the kids.
Absolutely. Bishop, what's on your heart?
I'm listening to the wonderful comment. Story went way out there and brought up something that did take place, which is crazy. I don't know what, but I remember that very story. And it doesn't change the fact of the question at hand. Who's going to do it? Who's going to raise? Who's going to raise? It's still the responsibility of the parents. There are some that have a corrupt mind. And it's a shame that they try to exploit children and for financial wealth and gain. And it goes back to even when Donna was talking about what takes place in churches, how, it's all about the financial gain and not the restoring of life and mind and principles and morality. It's all about how much money we can get. And they've lost focus. And that's one of the reasons that we're really losing the young people, or losing our youth, because there's no teaching. And the only thing that we teach is about money. It's always about the dollar. Man, you got to get, I got mine, you got to get yours, and then this by any means necessary. And any means necessary means the loss of a society, the loss of a life, the loss of a mind. And it's so true. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Absolutely. Talk to me, Pete.
Man, y'all got me over here on 10.
Yes, sir.
Okay. A society based in the tension of thrill, ungodliness, evil determined will, kill the spirit, pervert the mind, produce savages or a savage kind, undeveloped beings producing things, the destruction of our thoughts, death our actions bring, the spirit, the mind, the heart, the whole you, oblivious to the foundation of the concept of truth. Love, goodness, morals, compassion, as the day to night, right by us passing. God, Allah, Confucius, Buddha, Ali, all embarrassed by the conditions existing presently. Individual collective responsibility. The standards to hold fall over all of we. What?
Look here.
This what y'all inspiring right now with this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to the foundational principles of the concept of truth. What is true?
Mm-hmm.
I can have my concept of truth. You, everybody on the line can have their own divergent concept, if you will, of truth. But it's only one concept of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what we think, it's only one concept of truth. And it's going to fall on each and every one of us to align ourselves with the concept of truth. There be found in our thoughts, in the inner chambers of our heart, in the inner fibers and the structure of us being alive as beings,
and
orchestrate from there. I don't care who you believe in. We need to do better. We must do better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My mother is 83 years old. She often says, well, let me bag up. Our older sister, when I was a child, I'm past 50, used to say, what you gonna do when you can't call the police? Well, that didn't came in past. My mother always says now, what you gonna do when God rise up? What you gonna do when the power source in all of existence say, I done had enough. Now I'm about to holler at you.
Exactly.
Now what?
What do you turn? Rico, Curtis, if you're still with us, brother, I'm coming to you next. I've been trying to hit you. But if you're there, I'm gonna come to you after Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Can you say that again now?
What's on your heart, brother? Rico?
Yeah, I was thinking about what Toya said. And that's the reason why I believe that the community, the human community, mankind, has to always keep an eye out, because we were children once before, and we know how vulnerable we were. We know what it took and what we needed to be protected and provided for. And so now here it is, in this day and age, more children are left in a vulnerable situation. Latchkey children. Like I said, that started in the 80s. Latchkey children. You have all these terms that people don't even utilize anymore, but it's really a part of our society now. It's a part of our culture. Children being the ones that have to go home and open the doors when they get out of school and do their own homework. You say, who's going to teach the children? Life. Life's going to teach the children. Especially when the parents aren't there to guide them through it. They're going to learn one way or the other. They might leave here early not knowing enough, or they might leave here early knowing a lot. They might take themselves away from this thing because they just don't want to be a part of it. They see the road down, the road on down is going to be a little difficult. And they don't like the way these things look. But if somebody has to take responsibility to say, well, you know what? I'll do it. I'll say what needs to be said. I'll do what needs to be done. You got children in the neighborhood walking up and down the street cussing like Sailor, the name of 8 years old. I'll be the one to tell them to stop it. I'll take that responsibility. I might not get an award for it. It might not even put me in a position of power. But I'm going to let them know right from wrong. I'm going to let them know what the truth is. And sometimes the truth make people dislike you. I'm not a favorite in my community now because I speak the truth. I don't care how close we are. The truth is the truth is the truth. Right is right is right. Wrong is wrong. Even when it's me doing it, I still accept accountability and I don't pull no punches with it. So a lot of people don't like you when you call that truth out. They don't want to be a part of what you got going on. They don't want to support you or even don't even want to recognize you. But when you get those people in those situations that they work at DCL, maybe they are the heads of the NAACP, the president. Maybe they are the heads of some organization, social activism or something. But then they still don't want to take the responsibility of going that extra mile. So I'll do it. I could easily be the one that said, well, you know what, man, that ain't my child. I ain't the one got to worry about it crossing the street. That ain't my child. But when we see some children walking in and out the door and we wondering where their parents are and the parents ain't there, we ain't supposed to just go and mind our business, but society tells you to mind the business that pays you. So now, when you talk about who's going to teach the children, your life will, unless you decide to step in whenever you see is necessary.
Exactly.
See, so many people seeking, so many people looking for success and power and prestige that they don't even know that it's really coming back from helping being a contributor to mankind.
That's good. That's good. I think I got a surprise for y'all. We got a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Raheem, in the Morning Glow family.
Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I am doing just fine and so blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blessing to have you here, brother. Definitely a blessing to have you here. What's
I called in because I was listening to your show. And I want people to call in and talk about how are you ministering to this need that you just criticized in our community? How? What are you doing? What have you been doing to change these issues in our community? Because you've tried to raise your children without God, and this is the outcome.
Come on.
I just called my pastor of my old church yesterday, and I just thanked him and his wife so much for taking over the reins of Prince of Peace Missionary Baptist Church, where I grew up at, where my grandfather was pastor, my father preached. And I told them all we learned in that little bitty church applies to everything in this world. There ought to be some believers that call in on this show and talk about how they raise their children. I'm from the hood, in the ghetto. We are in this world, but not of this world.
Come on.
There are standards and moral values that we have as believers in Christ that make all the difference in the world. And I had to call in because you keep throwing rocks, but you're not talking about what you're doing to minister to this need. Are you telling that child, be careful, don't play in the streets when you see them out there? Are you giving words of advice and encouragement to children who look like they have no support? Are you volunteering your time at boys and girls clubs and things of that nature? So instead of talking about how bad it is, talk about what you're doing to minister to the need. Some believers are to call in on this line right now and talk about raising your children in the fear and admonition of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Somebody should be calling in talking about how the Muslim faith has provided a role and stature for their family to get them in line and with the divine order of God. Because this is the way. Now, everybody ain't going to like it. Everybody ain't going to accept it. But if you want to change your situation, this is a great way to do it. This is a great choice to start today.
Exactly.
And that's all I had to say this morning.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. I definitely appreciate you, man. Anybody got anything they want to say? Just got Captain Leonard back with us this morning. Anybody have anything on their heart? Pete?
Well, I'm so glad to hear my brother. I've reached out to him a couple of times on his road to recovery, but I tell you what, I appreciate it. And you understand why I call him my E.F. Hutton guy.
Yes, sir. Look, Leonard? You mean Leonard? You talking about Leonard? Good deal. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Rico? You call me again?
Yes, sir.
I thought I had just finished speaking, man. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure, pretty much in agreement with Leonard, man. I mean, good hearing from you too, bro. But I'm in agreement with him. Like I said, we could easily have that mind the business that pays you mentality. But then when we have that mentality, we don't have the right to ask, what's wrong with this young generation?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with these young people? See, I'm along those same lines. You hear people saying and making complaints all the time. But when it's time for you to say something that needs to be said or do something that needs to be done, that ain't your place.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your hands are tied. I know people that work for DCS, Children's Services, their hands are tied. They know there are situations where they should be paying more attention. They should have more of an impact. They should interfere a little bit more. But they just don't have the proof because that parent or those parents are covering their tracks good enough. But they know in the back of their mind somebody touching these babies.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do the wrong thing, they're going to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
Go by that house while you off the clock anyway, just to check and see how the atmosphere is. Go by there at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night while you off work and see if the children out there in the middle of the road. Mm-hmm. Me and myself, I would probably be that person. I would be, man, I would say I would probably be the shortest term employed DCF worker in the history of Children's Services.
Yes,
because
sir.
I would have my nose up in so many people's business. Once I saw something going wrong, I know I would have the state being sued.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you got to do what's right. Sometimes you got to make that sacrifice. Sometimes you might have to jump in that pool even if you don't know how to swim.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Toya with the T, talk to me, sis.
Yeah, no, great topic. I'm so sorry that I came in late, but very vital information. And again, you know what, Raheem, I'm just gung ho on the fact that I know that God is in the mix of this conversation right now, even with the children. You know, Rico brought up a very valid point to the last few kids. You know, it's not always about the homicidal parent or the children of the corn. There are those of us that just the devil goes by looking for whom he may devour. And if he distracts us with the work, right? He distracts us with the things of the world and, oh, well, I can't sacrifice not working and only the husband working and only working off of one income because I don't want my kids at home and I need to teach them these key core values. So I'm going to make sacrifices. Let me tell you something. The only sacrifices been going on. Last one Jesus made, that's it. Don't nobody want to sacrifice nothing. And they only want to sacrifice. He made his sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
See, we don't want to do that. And it's up to God. It doesn't matter who's around. You can have the best parents in the world, richest parents in the world. You can still come out a little ding child seed.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the poorest parents in the world, and you can still come out to be the best multi sports talented degree holding person in the world. Look at Jesus, born in the manger. So I think we really need to focus on ourselves, the humans. Be the humans. What's wrong with the kids? We are.
Mm-hmm. Wow. The
piss poor advice that we gave them and we've grown away from now, and those are the remnants of it. You know, the Lord tells us these things, but we don't pay attention. But everything we do, like Adam and Eve, I said this before, it sets a precedent that changes the world.
Absolutely.
And we don't understand that. We don't sacrifice as parents. We don't sacrifice as humans. If we don't sacrifice as humanity, then we're going to continue to get the results just like what we're getting. Like Rico said, if you don't want to stop right now and take time with that young man could be stopping talking to you with a gun.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Curtis, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm right here. What's on your heart?
Yeah. What's on your heart, brother? You got anything right now? We got 7 minutes. I want to go around and touch a few more people before we get out of here. What's on your heart, brother?
No, I'm going along with what everybody is saying. To piggyback what Toya was just saying, it really needs to be understood that most of those kids that come from nothing to have something greater than the negative things that they have encountered,
they are in that position largely because of what Leonard just threw out there. El Dog, I see you barking again, so I know you good. It is a direct result of someone in that community instilling in that child what is better than what they have seen over the course of years. These young men and women who are achieving great things irregardless of the circumstance is a direct result of someone, male or female, who has saw something in them that motivated them to do better and to be better. So the ideology.
Kurt, I think we lost you, brother. I think we lost Kurt there. Let me keep this thing going. Donald Toussaint, talk to me, brother.
I think a lot's been said.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody listening? I wonder if anybody's listening. One thing Pete said is, and you know, sometimes we leave things up to God, and God has left it up to you.
Come on.
You come down here and teach your children. He's not gonna come down and stop you from TikToking with your grandchildren. 4 generations, ticking it and talking it. He gonna stop that.
Exactly.
Let you go right ahead. We're so much concerned with if it doesn't have we want to be rich and famous almost. I heard Rico said something about buying homes. When they buying homes, you know what they're doing? Flipping it. They buy a home to flip it. Then they buy another one and flip it. And their children watching them. And we're raising a bunch of entrepreneurs. That's what we want to become. Entrepreneurs. And then you ask them how to change a tire, and they have to stay on the side of the road and wait for the tire man to come.
Because they don't know.
Don't know. Don't have a clue. Oh, cook what? You got to be kidding me. My mama didn't cook, and I ain't cooking either.
Exactly.
and so we're kicking the can of destruction. And we're waiting, and almost it seems like we daring God to come down and do anything about it. But he coming.
Yes, sir.
And he will.
He ain't scared.
Because he will not allow us to continue on this course of trying to build a tower to Babel. In our desire to really dethrone him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see where I'm going to go right now. Pete, what's going on, brother?
All I'm hearing and what we're discussing, and understand, family, I'm taking self-analysis as we speak. It's a call. The conversation is a sober call to assess yourself and to find yourself where you were created to be. Whatever spirituality, the name you call them, whatever. This is a conversation like a message in the temple, in the synagogue, in the church, in the formation, speaking to the souls and reasoning with you to peek at your full potential in truth. So if nothing else, you know, so much has been said. You know, I think the Bible say, you know, words could go on, it becomes weary. At some point we just have to stop, sit down with ourselves, take an assessment, be honest, and let us align ourselves with the truth.
Absolutely.
And find ourselves there on the right side of how we were created to exist in this form. Take courage. But let's do the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me share this right here with you all, and we're ready to get on out of here. But this has been a great broadcast this morning. But I want to share this. Let me see. Can I pull it up here? Here we go, right here. You all know in a few days. Let me turn my camera off. Let me stop my camera. I just want that to be on the screen. You all know in a few days, in 25 days, Promises is coming. Promises is coming. The adult prom. It's going to be a great evening. You could get together, bring out your best. Come out there, look good, and smell good, and just come for a good time. It's going to be September the 25th. September the 25th is going to be at 2308 Henry Clara Boulevard in Snellville, Georgia. It's going to start at 8 o'clock. So make sure you come on out and have a great time with this great cause, and still have the early bird tickets. We still got the early bird, some early bird tickets available, so you can actually go and get some of the early bird tickets. So make sure you come out. Promises, an adult prom for your grown folks. If you went to the prom with the person that you're with right now, that's great. You get an opportunity to do it all over again. But if you did not, if you're with somebody right now that I wish I would have gone to the prom with him, I wish I would have gone to the prom with her, this is your opportunity right now to get together, come out, put on your best, come out there, look good, and have a great time. Some people are coming solo. Some people say, I don't have a date, but I'm coming to that prom. Come on out. Have a good time. There's going to be some other single folks there as well that, you might be able to get out there and cut the rug with just a little bit. Toya with a T, talk to me. What's on your heart, sis? Promises.
Yeah, I'm one of them single folk gonna be there, single, no date, be there with the Lord, just me in the air and my friends. So make sure y'all come on out. But no, man, thank you so much, man, Raheem, for the platform, for the opportunity. I appreciate you and love you so much.
Likewise, sis.
That.
Absolutely.
And just just getting to know a whole new family online. You know what I'm saying? This is what I mean by God be there in the whip. Because when you know your family's special, He gonna send you a whole new family provided solely by Him to take their place, man.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be all right, family or not. Just trust in the Lord. But thank you so much, man, for having this platform and doing what you do.
Hey, to God be the glory.
Doggone well, you're not gonna be there maybe with your boo, but you're gonna be there with them burgers or them biscuits or them buns, them muffins or something. You ain't fooling nobody. We know you cook. You're gonna bring the love. You're not fooling none of us.
Oh no, I've never been to prom before, sweetheart. I shall be there in my gown.
Exactly. That's right. That's what. That's
I'll
what.
catch y'all on the flip side for that food. But on this prom that I never been to, because I just know I was gonna go to do something. I don't know why. I'm finna go to this one though.
Absolutely. Not cooking. And Leonard, Captain Leonard said, "Amen, Toya." Say, "Amen, Toya." So listen, Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today, sir?
If you missed today's show, tuned in late, such as I did once again, you can catch it in its entirety at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Pete, can I get you the prayers out there?
Sure. Father God, as we humble ourselves before you this morning, we thank you to God for the activity of our mind and limbs, a reasonable portion of health and strength. We thank you that we can come before you, casting our cares upon you, because you said that we could in your word. Lord, we thank you, dear God, for being awake this morning, for being the DKM radio, the family, dear God, being able to speak on sound things and let it go out, dear God. We ask that the truth that was spoken would find root, dear God, where it's needed, dear Father. Go out to where it's needed and take root, dear Father. We ask that you would bless all that are assembled, all that listen to radio, in the radio audience, to the radio family. Bless them as they go throughout their day. Keep them safe, dear God. Counsel their hearts, dear God. And have your way with each and every one of us until we meet again. And we'll give you all the glory, the honor, and praise for all that is said, done, and accomplished. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. We're about to get out of here. I'm about to shut down the phone lines because I don't want that music to come on. So it's gonna hang up abruptly. So I love each and every one of you, and I will talk to you in just a little tab. But let me turn this off right here, so I don't want that music going on. There we go. Stop that.
Goodbye.
Good deal. Goodbye to you as well. Now, it is now 10:03. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:03. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. Want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light on you from the morning glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. Get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Love you, and take care of each other. Be blessed.